Okay, here's the deal. You've been lied to, you have been deceived with so many things. Today we're going to talk about fitness myths that are simply just not true. You've wasted your time, you've wasted your efforts, and putting energy in the wrong direction. Today we're going to talk about fitness myths. Like I said, we're going to work on correcting what has been incorrect. Let's talk about it. How did you make the tight and being put Right, y'all, my name is Simanga Michael Jaffa. I'm a personal trainer and an online coach. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Please like, subscribe, do all that good YouTube stuff. We're going to get straight into it. So the way I'm going to structure the video is we're going to have 4 points, and then as always we're going to have a bonus point with such a nice guy. 4 points, bonus point at the end, so make sure you stay all the way to the end for that bonus point. Let's do this. Okay, point number 1 is that you can spot reduce. Spot reduction basically is you can choose where you want to burn fat. You can choose where you want to lose the fat. And maybe ladies will be like, I want to lose the fat in my stomach, but I want to keep the one in my ass, or whatever the case might be. And I think most of us by now should know that spot reduction is a myth. It's just that you cannot spot reduce. It's physically impossible unless you use, I don't know, plastic surgery or whatever. When you're going just exercising and dieting, you cannot spot reduce. You as a system, your body's a system. And so when you lose adipose tissue and you lose fat, your body's going to lose fat all over. Granted, there might be some areas that are harder or easier to lose fat because of your genetic predisposition, but it's not necessarily a thing of you will lose it in the area that you want. It might happen that the area that you want, you're genetically predisposed or disposed to losing it there quickly, or it might happen that you're disposed to losing it last, which is normally the case for most people. So unfortunately, you cannot spot reduce. That is with number 1, busted. Myth number 2, no pain, no gain. Now we have all heard this one, and it's simply not true. People often like to measure how good their workout is with soreness, and I see a lot of my clients do this, and I'm always like, just because you're sore the next day doesn't mean that you had a better workout than another workout where you weren't as sore. Okay, soreness isn't the measure for growth. It's not the measure for how great the workout was. There are other things to determine just how good the workout was. Sorry, why did I say that? How good the workout was, but soreness is definitely not one of them. Soreness can tell you a lot of things, maybe how the workout was in terms of maybe a certain muscle was a little bit more sore because you did a different exercise, or maybe you reached too far and you did too much, or maybe you were doing your legs and you're squatting and then maybe your back is sore, and that could tell you that there's a breakdown somewhere there that you need to address before your lower back continues to be the limiting factor in that movement. But soreness isn't necessarily an indicator of how good the workout was. So do not chase soreness. Hey y'all, remember that starter pack program I told you guys about? Well, it's finally ready. So the starter pack program, just in case you might have missed it, is a program that I made for someone who's starting out in the gym, really doesn't know what to do. They want to gain muscle, they want to lose some sort of body fat, and they just really don't know how to go about the process. So that is an awesome program to just start you off and then send you in the right direction. So in that program, you'll find 40+ video library. There's a bunch of other resources that talk about meals, diets, supplementation, stretches, what stretches to do before, what stretches to do after, as well as voiceovers during the actual videos to tell you and cue you on how to do the movements properly. That thing is comprehensive, guys. I spent a long time doing it and preparing it. So it's, like I said, it's ready for you guys. So if you're ready to take your fitness to the next level and finally make that jump, be sure to comment in the video, starter, and I'll make sure I'll send it to you. Thank you so much, guys. Alrighty, please make sure you like the video. Comment in the comment section below on maybe a thing you guys think, a fitness myth that is super popular, that you feel like, Smanga, you left this one out. And just because it's you and you're such a nice guy, I'm going to put it in the comments. Subscribe to the channel, all that good YouTube stuff. Make sure you stick to the end of the video again, because I'm going to drop a bonus point that I think is going to be very helpful. On to the next one. Okay, point number 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Point number 3, lifting weights is going to make you bulky. Now, I'm sure for other trainers and coaches out there, this is one we get a lot, especially from ladies. Now, I just want to say, for ladies and gents, this is not true. Okay, especially maybe sometimes they might come to myself, and I wouldn't necessarily consider myself jacked or big or whatever, but also I suppose that is relative. You know, someone else could look at someone else and say, compared to me, you are jacked, or compared to so and so, you're jacked. But people might come to me and be like, I want you to help me train, I want you to help me do A, B, C, and D, but I don't want to get jacked. I don't want to do too much weights and get jacked. You know, I'm like, okay, if I'm talking to ladies now, that is almost never gonna happen that you're gonna lift weights and get jacked. First of all, the amount of effort, time, food that it takes to get jacked, it takes years to get jacked. First of all, it takes years to get jacked, even as a male with testosterone, which is low-key the determining factor. So males who've trained for 10 years naturally still find it hard to be jacked, like huge jacked. So you being a lady, no testosterone, you're probably not going to eat as much as it takes to get jacked, because that's not your goal. Your calorie intake is not going to be there. There's just training volume, so many things are just not going to be at that level that it requires for you to get jacked. So you're not going to get jacked. If anything, if you lift weights, you're going to get stronger, you're going to look better, your body composition is going to improve over time for sure, and your health markers are going to improve. But you're not going to get jacked, ladies. I promise you. You don't have the hormones, and you definitely don't want to live that kind of life to get jacked, most of you anyways. The ladies that you see that are jacked, quote unquote jacked, most of them have exogenous hormones in them, and they put that stuff in there because that's what they want to do. They want to be female bodybuilders, they want to be bodybuilders on the highest levels, and that's what they need to do to get that physical outcome. So don't worry about that. With the gents, there's a good guy that I name, I'm not gonna name him, but I trained him last week. Good guy, like I said, good guy. But we trained and he was like, okay, siyajima before, but I'm feeling weight kora cool. Basically meaning we're training and he liked the weight training, but he doesn't want to be too big. And I was like, bro, insert his name there. I was like, bro, don't worry, you're not gonna be big. I've been training for 10 years, obviously on and offish sometimes, but 10 years consistently, and I'm not jacked like that on that level. So I promise you're not gonna get jacked, because that's not even a thing for you. I was training for 10 years trying to get jacked on the level of a bodybuilder, obviously not knowing better, but you're training just to get in shape, so you're not gonna get jacked. Don't worry about that. Okay, so it takes time, dedication, guys, to get jacked. Let's put some respect on bodybuilders' names. Okay. Oh yeah, this one is might be a little bit of a controversial one, but stretching before workouts does not reduce injury risk. Okay, now when I say stretching before workouts, I'm mainly talking about static stretching. That type of static stretching is known for calming your body down. In many ways, it actually takes away your ability for your muscles to contract optimally and produce the amount of power and force that they need to before a workout. When you're going into a workout and you have, personal best that you're trying to beat, or training progressively and you're trying to go into the gym and outdo yourself, your old self from your last session or whatever the case might be, types of stretching don't let you do that. So if anything, sometimes they can almost make injury more of a thing and make you more injury prone if you're doing the incorrect type of stretching. So dynamic stretching and practicing the movements that you're actually going to do with load, just lighter, and then gradually moving up, tend to be better to get you to be able to do what you're going to do and really limit the amount of injury risk that is associated with any exercise. So dynamic stretching exercises, stretches that are where you're moving dynamically, you're not holding them for too long. And just like, let's say if I'm going to do a deadlift, one of the ways I can prep myself for the deadlift or warm up for the deadlift is to do a couple light sets of the deadlift, working up to my actual working weight. Of course, there are other dynamic stretches that you can do, but the point is the static stretching isn't great when it comes to limiting the risk of injury. Too often we're told, stretch so that you don't get injured before your workouts. Now, static stretching does have its place, but that's more so at the end of the workout when you've had the peak of your exercise, and now it's time to cool down again, calm down again, and let your nervous system recover and start to calm itself. So that's when stuff like static stretching becomes really useful. What's up with my words today? Shucks. Last point of the video. Point number 5, and the bonus point that I mentioned earlier. And I find this one very prevalent for people who do classes. People who do a grid class or a pump class or whatever, one of those classes where you're moving from station to station and it's just all about calorie burn and it's all about doing the most. More sweat doesn't necessarily mean you're having a better workout or you're burning more calories. That's not how it works. I don't know who needs to hear this. If you need to send this to someone, please do. But it's not the case. How many people have you seen who go to a class religiously every Monday, Wednesday, whatever, but at the end of the year they look the same? Of course, there are other factors at play. Maybe their rest and their stress levels need to be controlled for, their diet needs to be controlled for, but their training often also isn't optimized to give them the sort of outcomes that they want. So just basically to close off the point, when you're sweating, that's your body's way of cooling itself down. And some people, again, because of the genetics, might sweat more than other people in general. Even if, let's say, person 1 and person 2 are doing the same type of exercise, the same type of intensity, but because they're individuals, person 1 might find it a little bit more, they might find it themselves sweating a little bit more, maybe because genetically in their family they just sweat easier, or their sweat glands are, my point being, they're whatever, just there's a lot more than just, okay, if I'm sweating more, I'm burning more calories. If anything, time, the amount of time that you're doing the exercise for, is a better predictor of calorie burn more so than sweat. Okay, this is also not me saying work out for 3 hours, because that is another one we can say for another video, which is not a good way to go about exercise. But yeah, guys, more sweat does not mean more calorie burn. I see that way too often on the gym floor. People trying to kill themselves by sweating a ton and thinking that they're gonna do something great. And often those people are the same people who don't track anything. So then how do you know you're making progress? You're just sweating a bunch every day. I don't know how people do it. Anyways, that is the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna be here every week. I'm gonna try to do that every week. It's super hard to be consistent, but I'm gonna do my best. Like I said, do all that good YouTube stuff. Check me out on Instagram. DM me if you need help. Be sure to comment underneath the video if you need that starter pack program for the beginner that I made. We've worked super hard on that program. I'm super proud of it, and I know it's gonna help a lot of people. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you in the next one.